Yo, what's up guys? Jerome here discussing gold making in Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. Adventurers are definitely busy taking advantage of the 100% leveling boost to take on new challenges with new characters. At level 40 though, players are in for a big surprise with all their newfound expenses. You've got gear, you've got mount, you've got consumables for the epic Nomergon raid. It is definitely overwhelming to figure out ways to bring in gold for all those hidden expenses. But that's where my ultimate Phase 2 gold making guide comes in. I've discovered the best gold farms throughout Azeroth and I've tested all of them. Let's uncover the best gold makers in Phase 2 of Season of Discovery together. Getting started, we'll be covering my 3 current favorite open world gold makers. The hidden gems to get steady gold to pay for all your expenses. Then we'll be talking about solo gold farms inside some of the most epic and challenging dungeons. Finally, we'll be going deep into AFK gold making secrets. Consistent and lucrative gold farms without the high effort. Let's start by taking a look at open world farms. My third favorite spot lately has been the Dire Maul Ogres. These mobs melt like butter so you can keep your world buffs the whole time. It's a much safer farm than most open world farms. These ogres are a consistent 6 to 8 gold per hour, primarily due to their mage weave and their random green drops. Just today I got an eagle green necklace worth almost 4 gold on the auction house, though disenchanting is always an option for lower level items. On top of the drops, you also get a good chance at high level crates like the White Bandit Mask crate, which can be 9 gold profit. Come here at a less populated time and it's a very enjoyable farm, though remember that with crowding your profit will drop really fast. Ogre farming, it's Jerome approved. Up next, let's talk about the Witherbark Troll farm. Similar to the Dire Maul Ogres, the main draw is the Mage Weave and the raw gold. You get a big trade-off, far less crowding, but the catch is that the mobs are scarier and they can socially aggro too. The Mage Weave cloth, the troll necklaces, and the greens are all relatively common drops though. I'd put this farm at a base of 7 to 9 gold per hour on a fast-killing character like my Hunter. And of course, any crate you get can really skyrocket that up just like the Ogre farm. Troll farming, it's Jerome approved. Let's talk about my favorite open world farm right now. Firemain Dragonkin farming in Dustwallow is just amazing. All the perfect greens in that high level 30 range. I also got several supply crates from this farm as well. It's an easy 8 to 10 gold per hour, if not more. The only real downside of Dragonkin farming is that if somebody decides to fight you, the runback is really bad. Dragonkin farming, it's Jerome approved. Alright, so I had to throw in a bonus here because everybody's talking about this spot. The Woodpaw Gnolls are really easy to kill, especially the casters for me. They drop all sorts of nice greens, the Waylight supply boxes, and a huge amount of Mage Weave and Silk. There's pretty solid mob density here. There's usually something to kill even at populated times. The big draw though is the proximity to the Horde Town with the vendors and a mailbox. I'd put the Woodpaw Gnolls around 7 or 8 gold per hour currently. Woodpaw Gnolls, they're Jerome approved. So we've talked open world, let's talk about my favorite solo dungeon farms. Up first is Cathedral farming. This is the hidden gem of gold making in Phase 2. To set the ground rules, you need a hunter or a mage. Mages can do 10-minute full clears, while hunters can do 12-minute full clears. You get about 25 gold per hour in raw golden items, and you get a chance at additional epics and valuable greens to sell in the auction house too. I knew absolutely nothing about hunter farming and mob kiting, and I still managed to master the farm in about 10 hours this week. Now I'm starting to bring in paying customers with additional potential profit of over 200 gold per hour. Within the next month, I fully expect to have made over 5,000 gold just from Scarlet Monastery. It's that good. Cathedral boosting, it's Jerome approved. My other favorite solo farm is Uldaman. If you wondered why I mentioned that SM Cathedral boosting is that hidden gem, it's because every hunter in Azeroth is currently in Uldaman. The farm's really not as easy as it looks, and I still struggle to do it every run consistently. But it's a very strong 30 gold per hour, plus a chance at all sorts of rare and expensive items. And one of the best perks of Uldaman being so lucrative and popular is that there have been weakars developed specifically for it. Below the video is a weakar that makes the fireballs much more manageable, which has really helped me. Though at this point I know you're thinking, well, I don't even have a hunter or a mage, this really isn't for me. But really, it would only take you 3 or 4 nights to get a hunter or a mage to 40, and then you're right in there making gold. Killing mobs for gold is great, but what if I told you there were more lucrative moneymakers hidden away in your favorite city? Let's talk about the obscure and AFK Goldmakers. The first lucrative AFK Goldmaker is just to craft items. I'm sure you already knew that much, but what if there was a way to immediately check every profitable craft in the game, as well as every waylaid supply crate as well? This excellent spreadsheet from my friend Simon Eyes can do just that. First, you've got to grab Auctionator from CurseForge. It's a really simple auction app. First, you'll want to import the Everything list from the Shopping List tab on the sheet. Then run a scan of that list by pressing the search button. Export the results and copy them into the Data Import section of the sheet to get up-to-date price data. Now you can easily see which crafts are profitable and which ones to avoid, even for waylaid supplies. As for the crafting itself, I definitely recommend making a variety of items to keep sales moving. In my case, I usually focus on cooking, engineering, and tailoring. That being said, alchemy is a great profit driver and less players have that profession. As you level more alts, definitely consider picking professions to maximize profit instead of min-maxing raid performance. I also use multiple alts to cover as many professions as possible. There's hundreds of gold profit per day here if you get really into it, so I highly recommend this method. One other feature on the sheet is that you can easily see if salvage or objects are worth turning in for profit in the raid. For example, right now grime-encrusted objects are slightly profitable to turn in. Meanwhile, the Ziri's mystery crates aren't worth doing at all. While this isn't a huge daily profit driver for me, it is a nice way to make some profit whenever you run Nomergon. Another even more AFK Goldmaker I love is vendor flips. I really like the thick leather flips into nightscape headbands, as well as the silk into heavy silk bandages. If your character has less than 5 gold and you want to come back to 10 or 15, this is your best method. Even after all these years, if I have a broke alt that needs consumes for a raid later in the day, I go straight to vendor flips. If you want a good head start, my full vendor flip spreadsheet is linked below the video as well. And that brings us to our last AFK Goldmaker, which is crate gambling. This is a method I learned from my friend Hannes, and it's both a fun and a risky way of making some gold. At least if you're on a big populated server like Crusader Strike. If you're a hardcore fan, you may know about wastewater pouches. These drop from Tanaris bandits and are used in a quest that most people do, and then they just keep moving on. But there's a repeatable aspect to this quest where you can turn in 5 pouches to get a care package. That care package is almost always going to contain a moonberry juice, maybe some pumpkins, but there's also a small chance at healing and mana potions as well. The real draw, though, is the scrolls. That includes Scroll of Strength 3. This is the scroll used by top parsing warriors. On the biggest servers, they're willing to pay up to 15 gold per scroll on raid reset days. Bear in mind, though, that this isn't a gamble for the faint of heart. Sometimes you'll need hundreds of pouches to get even a single scroll. So now you know the very best open world gold makers. You know the best solo dungeon gold makers, and you even know the best secret AFK gold makers as well. I would love to know what your current favorite gold making method is. Let's talk about it in the comments. And while I work on the next video, you gotta make sure you subscribe to get access to future gold making secrets before everybody else. And hopefully I've convinced you to re-roll by this point as well, so definitely check out my DPS tier list to know where hunters and mages truly stack up.